Hallo en welkom bij mijn kanaal. Mijn naam is Darren en dit jaar, 2024, leer ik Nederlands. Maandag was het 50ste dag van mijn jaardagelijkse Nederlandse studie. En ik kan zeggen dat er de afgelopen 10 dagen niets is veranderd. Mijn woordenschat wordt elke dag groter, natuurlijk, maar er is zoveel passief. And this is the subject of this video today. Maar eerst, ik wil zeggen dat vrijdag gaan mijn familie en ik op vakantie naar Tenerife. En de stad of de village or area waar we verblijven heet Tennebel. Omdat er altijd zoveel Vlaamse mensen zijn. En zelfs de menukaarten in sommige restaurantjes zijn in het Nederlands. Ik denk dat daar nog meer Nederlands kan ik oefenen dan hier in Brussel. Misschien. Ik weet het nog niet. So, we'll see about that. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about practice because this is the thing that is so important and, wow, so evasive. So let's get started. Right now, where I'm at with my Dutch study is that I'm getting a bit of a vocabulary built up, somewhere in the 1,500 word range, as far as I can tell. It's a very difficult thing to measure, actually. There's a ton of English words in Dutch, or Germanic words that I know from English that are also in Dutch. And it's really impossible to count that until I come across them. But right now in LingQ, which is one of the platforms I use for language study, the word count is up around 1,400. And so it's a pretty decent representation of what I've come across and what I feel like I can click on and say, yes, I know that word. So the thing is that when I get to this stage, I feel like I'm starting to understand some things. I can read a text. I can understand what it says. I saw a billboard the other day in Brussels that said, not everything in life has to be fast except the internet. And I just thought to myself, wow, like just a few weeks ago, I would not have been able to read that in Dutch and understand what it said. So these like tiny victories are coming around and it's really good, but I can't say anything. I can't speak. I have these interactions with my friend, Martin, and we see each other a few times. We're dropping the kids off at school. Goedendag, goedemorgen, hoe gaat het met je? You know, and he starts to say some stuff. I get a little bit lost. We try to interact. It's painful, you know. I would say that when I'm trying to speak to him or anybody, maybe about 10% of this vocabulary that I know will actually come out. And so this is the subject of today's video, and it's this idea of how do you get from passive vocabulary to active vocabulary. And the challenge, of course, is that it's very difficult to pin a native speaker to get somebody to stand there and listen to you while you struggle through trying to build a sentence and remember words. But it has to happen. You have to practice it to get it out. Now, fortunately, there are people smarter than me and more clever than me that think about these kinds of things and offer up solutions. And something I came across just yesterday, watching a little bit of YouTube, was a guy named Robin McPherson, who has created a few videos about this very subject, about taking the language that's inside, that you understand, that's brewing in there, and turning that into language that you can produce and eventually speak. And he seems to be quite a fan of the idea of writing as a way to do this. And this is something that I talked about in the Day 30 video, where I use this method I got from Evgeny Yeroshev, the Russian guy who teaches German. He says to write a text the best you can in the language you're studying with all of its faults and errors. Don't worry about it. Do the best you can. Then write the same text the way you would say it in your native language and translate that, in my case, English, back into Dutch with something like DeepL. And then you can see the differences between the text you wrote with all the problems and DeepL's translation of something that was correct. And that's a really interesting and useful study tool. Well, Robin has actually created a platform that is called Journaly that I will link to. I personally have not used it, but the idea is that you take these writings in the language you're studying with all their errors, you post them to Journaly, and you have people who are either native speakers or more advanced than you who can make corrections to the text you've written. Very interesting because it's deeper than DeepL, for example, because people might offer up little colloquial recommendations. They might say, hey, this in principle, this is correct, but in practice, people say this instead or something. So that's you get some interaction with actual humans, which is kind of nice. The more important point that I wanted to say in this video is that I have decided to take Robin's advice and at least at very minimum, do some writing and make it part of my daily practice, because it is something that I have an inkling. I did it when I was studying Russian, and I know that it gets the gears turning. But it's hard. It's something that you don't, at least for me, sometimes at the end of the day, especially when it's time to write, okay, what happened today? I'm kind of too tired to do it. But I'm going to make a decision today to at least do a little bit every day, a little journal. What happened? Who did I talk to? What did I say? And write that in Dutch, just a few sentences, and try to make that a practice, a daily practice here for the next several weeks, and see whether or not that translates into something tangible in terms of the way I feel about speaking, how comfortable I am using the language. So this is all early stage stuff. It's only been 8 weeks of Dutch study, but I am motivated and I want to try to take this to a practical, usable level as quickly as possible. So we'll see how this goes. In future videos, I will report back and let you all know where I'm at. As usual, thank you for watching this video. Bedankt voor het kijken. Hou je goed en tot in de volgende video.